Say hello. Hi. Say hi. 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 Let's say hi to everybody. Okay. Who woke up in the wee hours to watch Jin? I did. I was up. I also watched Jungkook. Yes. Okay. Kate, Carol, Marie, Shelling, Just the Tea, Z, Fire Butterfly, Kathleen, Truth Warrior, Carol, Angel Star, Linda, Linax, Bang Luna, Reg, Patty, Z, Arlene, Alicia, Carmi, Fire Butterflies on Twitch. Wait a minute, I need to go live on Instagram. Okay. Say hi to our Instagram viewers, baby. Okay. Thank you. um, Carla, Pretend, A Brown, Maritz donated, yes. I donated, yes. So I am going to donate. I just got my haircut this morning. So I got the hair. I need to dry it out first and then I'll send it. Maybe I'll send it Friday. Or Saturday. Good afternoon, OSP, Truth Warrior, Cindy, Z Arashi, Big Night, Sky, MLB, Consuelo, Halina, Miriam, Crystal, Hoan, Pia, MLB, Carla Girl, Miriam, Taryn, MJD, Angel Star, Jin Mark. And the Big Night Sky, Just the Tea Please Joel 20. Periwinkle is also on Twitch. Share Your Love, Jolly 20. Mary Lynn, Kate Daddy, Fire Butterfly, Robin Carr, Truth Warrior, Crystal, Pretend, Disha Jet Lee, OSP, Alta 444, Patty, Cons 1108, Reg, MLB, we won! Your name always reminds me of baseball. I mean Ellie. Start Linda, um, Robin Carr. Thank you. I look stunning. the My friend said that I look like a bowling ball. Okay. Hi, Deva. Say hi. They're saying hi to you. Cindy's saying hi to you. Robin is saying hi to you, baby. Okay. No. Periwinkle. Arlene. I think I've said hi to everybody. Linda. Nicey. Nisi. Nisei. Has anybody figured out the number in the at? What at? Lara. That's it, I think. Michelle Santiago, Wonder Human, Simply JJ, Kate Daddy, Lorena is also on Twitch. Thank you, and Big Night Sky, Z Arashi, saying hi to you, baby. Thank you. This is actually not the haircut that I wanted, but it's here, so I guess give it 3 months. I guess it's gonna be what I want. You look like Betty. They said I was trying to go for the Edna look. Do you remember that? That's the look that I wanted. Um, okay. Kate Daddy, Letitia, Carla Girl, Lorena. When did you get the new do? Very cute. Thank you. Just this morning. I woke up early just to get the haircut because it's starting to bother me as well. Truth be told, I prefer shorter hair. It's just that I made a promise. I'm not like it's not a burden. It's just that if, given a choice, but I made a promise. As you know, my niece used to have leukemia. She used to have cancer. And so after, one of the things that I promise is that if she gets better, I'm going to just forever, for as long as my hair is acceptable, I will keep on donating it. You would look great with a pixie cut. I wanted the Edna. Edna, the Fantastic Four? Is she Fantastic Four? No, not Fantastic Four. Um, the one with orange wig in spaghetti. Wait, what's the name of here? Okay, wait. I'm gonna show you how she looks like here. The Incredibles, yeah, The Incredibles here. I'll show you. This is what I wanted. And she did not like it. She was like, "No, we're not gonna do that." There you go. That's the look that I wanted, just straight and short. And she was like, the hairdresser was like, "Nope." And I wanted to say like, I'm the one paying. Shouldn't shouldn't my opinion actually count more than yours? But well, what can I do? She was holding the scissors, so she had her way. Hani did Edna. Hani, this is way better. Anyway, so she said she was like, "Oh, it's gonna like um anyway, she said when it grows, like you have like she said I have like a year of like a really good haircut, and then I have to go back to her to get another. And it's like, no, I usually grow it long, and I need to get my hair cut again. So thank you, Lois Lane from Superman. Okay, well, I wish I looked like Lois Lane from Superman, but you know, life. You look like Edna Moda. That was what I was going for, but I guess it didn't happen. Okay, we actually have a lot to talk about. I'm gonna try and discipline myself to only discuss per topic 30 minutes to make sure that at least I cover three, if possible, all of it. The last one, so I wanted to go through the negative ones first, um, and then go finish it up with the positive ones, so that we get all the negativities out of the way first. Your My hairdresser bullies me. She's 100%. What's surprising is that I've never had a haircut in this salon. I don't really have like one hairdresser, like a cutter, because I go very, very rare, very, very rarely, because I have to let it grow. So I think the last haircut I had was like 4 years ago, 3 years ago. So I never really get to keep like one hairdresser. So this is the first time I've actually gone to that salon, only because my mom wanted to go to this salon. So that's where she went for her first haircut. Well, second haircut. She didn't like the first one. So she moved to this one and she liked it. So it's like, okay, when I get my haircut, I'm gonna go here. And we actually never had any kind of interaction before. And she was like, "Nope, we're not gonna do that." And I was like, "I'm the one paying." Okay, let me see. Someone sent me a message. Nope, that's not you. Um, all right. So 3 to 4 years ago, that's a long time. Yeah, because the hair that I had was like all up to past my waist already. And I had a pixie cut before that. Really, well, not really, not even a pixie cut. It was like a boy cut. Like it was a really, really short hair, and I had to let it grow long. So about 4 years. Um before I had another haircut. So yeah, maybe a little less, but years ago. So I never really get to keep my hairdresser. Now for this one, I plan to get, so when it grows a little longer, I'll cut it one more time just to enjoy like short hair, and then let it grow long again. So it's gonna take a while again for me to. I hate long hair, but my mom loves it. Um, I understand. Like, it's so convenient, right? To just have like a short hair, not have to think about it. I love that too. It's just that I made that promise, and I'm not regretting that promise at all. I will keep on doing it, which actually reminds me, just want to remind people that if you want to like do something like charity, if you want to do charity but not spend, one of the nice ways would be, if you want to let your hair grow longer, 5 inches is the requirement, the minimum requirement. If you can grow it for 5 inches, you then they'll accept it, and you cannot bleach your hair, but it's okay if you're coloring it, just as long as you're not bleaching it. So that's one way of doing it. I used to send it to Pantene first, and then they clean it, and then they send it to Locks of Love because I color my hair. But Locks of Love sent me an email several, I don't know, a year ago maybe, saying that they can actually clean the hair directly now. So I'll send it to them directly. So that's one way of doing it. For as long as you're not bleaching your hair, then that's good. You can donate your hair. Another would be, I've mentioned this before, if you want to go to a local shelter just to walk the dogs maybe once a week, twice a week, they'll accept it. You just, get one or two dogs, as many as you can, and then you walk them because they rarely get out of the kennel. So that's one way of doing it. You don't have to even do it regularly, just when you have the time, but it's a nice way of just giving some relief to the dogs. I used to do it more often, and I plan on doing it again. So that's another one. And then the other thing is that if you wanna follow Niall on X or Instagram or both, the if you follow him, and then whenever he posts, just like it, share it, because the views will give him more income, which he can use to rescue dogs. So not he rescues some dogs in Thailand, but his primary, like, the main goal of his organization is to sterilize all the dogs in Thailand so that there's no more unwanted, unplanned dogs anymore. So he was able to sterilize 100% of the dogs within his area. In Thailand, it's like street dogs, they are very, very common. Same is true with the Philippines. So if you can follow him, the views and interaction actually will give him more income, and he can use that money to sterilize more dogs. And also, he helps dogs as well. Like, if they need hospitalization, he also feeds street dogs. He, I think, constructed like shelters in the forest and in the streets, just so the dogs can actually use those whenever it's raining or whatever. So small ways you can actually help, like do charity at no cost to you. Okay. Minga, I never make a live a love your hair. Thank you. Rope it, love the whole audience. I was able to, so I told you that I am a night owl. Actually, I have some pictures of, isn't that like, that's an unedited picture. um, could you please add Portuguese translation? Sure, I can do that. Yes. So there's, I usually sleep like right before or right after sunrise. And so I was there for both concerts of him, and I was there for the live stream as well of JK. He seems to be doing it every day now, and each is like 6 hours. I think in the second one, he was gonna go more than 6 hours, but the there was something, right? Like J Hope's documentary or something. So um you're still having problems getting down from the concert. It's so good. That's an emotional stimulant pick. It's so good, right? This is unedited. Like, this is closer to his complexion. I think it's just the sun that's making his skin a little lighter, but it's so smooth, and it's just so, like, this is him. um is there another game this season? For who? For World Series, no more. You don't follow baseball. Okay, so we won game 7. So I was actually very happy that day. I was so nervous. They went on overtime. It's not, we don't call it overtime in baseball, we call it extra inning, but I guess overtime is kind of more common sports term. So it's usually ninth inning. It was tied, and so we went extra innings, but we did win on the 13th inning. So, and yeah, it was against all odds because our offense sucked the entire season. It just sucked. It was, the batters were nowhere to be found. I don't know. Yamamoto was clutch. I think the problem was that they do need to make some changes in baseball. So you know how, and why is the media now obsessed with Otani's wife? Because they're so private. So he doesn't. I remember Otani was asked about her one time, and Otani answered it, but he also made it clear that he doesn't want to talk about it. He was asked like, "Oh, something like, what's like a good thing about your wife or something like that?" And he said, it's good. We really have like, there's so much to talk about baseball. I think that's what he said. But it's nice that she's actually here and she gets to watch the game. So he kind of made it clear he doesn't want to talk about it. But anyway, I love sports, and sometimes there are sports that I don't fully understand that I still watch, like hockey. I don't fully understand hockey. I still watch it because I love when people pour their hearts and soul into something. Magandang umaga. She said good morning. Hi, Melanie. Like heart, soul, and body. I love that when they're like giving it their all. I love watching that. And so that's why I love watching sports. But so Otani is probably gonna go down into history as one of the greatest, if not the great. For me, he's the greatest. Or although it's very hard to compare when they're from different eras. But um, so he's a batter. He bats, he swings. The problem is that they won't let him swing. So when he's on the bat, they would just let him walk, like go to the first base. You can do that in baseball. And so for a sport, it's not like he's not it's not healthy because people want to be excited, right? So and then here comes the greatest of all time, possibly the greatest of all time, and you won't let him bat. That's not good for the sport. And so people are actually calling for that rule to be abolished because you got to see him swing, right? For the sport to sell, you got to see him swing. And that's what something that a lot of people need to understand, that whether it's art, concert, movies, or sports, that league has to earn, right? And people will and a league or an art or whatever, they earn when people want to watch. But if they're not getting what they want, then money is going to stop coming in. And so they need to do something about that. But anyway. All right. Because it's a guaranteed. Yeah, I know, but that's what you want. But that's why you're watching. So I'll come back after the sports talk. I hate I hate sports. Okay, so we won. They're in the parade right now. Well, the parade is done. They did it in downtown, which I don't go to because there's so many bad things there. But they went to the Dodger Stadium where Te pitched, and I think they had a party. I was watching the program earlier, and it was so funny because the Japanese players were delivering their speeches in English, but they never do the interviews in English. And I was like, this a host can actually speak perfect English. Anyway, um, so we have several things to talk about, but I want to go through the negative ones first so that we're done with that, and then we'll go through the positive ones. Te is in demand global ambassadors. I know. So he was revealed to be the new brand ambassador, which everyone knows already when they did when Tier is the name of the brand and Youth is the other one. When they revealed the teaser for the new ambassador, everyone knew it was Te. So it's like I don't know why you're doing this. why 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 hide him and everyone knows um who he is. But okay, so we're gonna be talking about, this is my frustration, the haircut that I wanted. We're gonna be talking about the first 8 chapters of Chakos. So okay, so you got a bomb. So that the I hope if you're, I will do this last, but if you don't want, I will be saying some spoilers. There will be spoilers. So if you haven't read it and if you don't want to know what happened, then I'm warning you now. But I am going to do this last, the review of the novel from chapter 1 to chapter 8, and then I'm just gonna do like maybe 7 to 8 chapters every episode, every live stream. So, but I'll do this last, okay? But warning that there will be spoilers. So if you don't want to, if you haven't gotten a chance to read it, then okay. And then we're gonna do news and updates. We're also gonna be doing um the updates on the Adore case versus New Jeans and some more HEEJIN updates. You haven't bought it. How big is the format? It's this. There you go. If you've read if you've read the comics, so there is a comics version, a manhwa version, which is their version of a manga, a manhwa version. There are differences in, oh, the print size. It's very small. I'm having a hard time reading it because the print is very, very small. And I, but I have a hard, I have a, okay, you want to go down? Want to go down? So so I'm having a hard time. They can't, if you do this, baby, they won't be able to hear me. Hmm? If you do it like this, I won't be able to go near the mic. Oh, you don't care? Okay, maybe that. Okay. So he doesn't want to go down. So I'm having a hard time reading it because I have a bad eyesight and I haven't gotten my prescriptions updated. Um, I'm wearing the contacts, but it's like a year and a half old. I need new prescriptions. So I don't know if there is an ebook version, which I actually prefer because I can make the fonts bigger. But this, you know, but it's a different experience. The problem is that I don't have a book holder, and so I need to buy one because I'm having a hard time reading it. Because I usually read on my desk, not on my bed. So okay, yeah, he's a snuggle bunny. Okay, you want to go down, baby? All right. You say bye to everybody. He wants his cuddles, yeah. You say bye. Mhm. He's being dramatic. Okay, baby? Go down. He's being very dramatic. Okay. Okay. Good. All right. So, okay, so yeah. If you read the manga, which is this one, give me 1 second. Okay. So if you read the manga, there are similarities, but there are also differences. So it's not exactly, and it's a different experience when you're reading a book, right? Because they have the luxury of being more descriptive, of saying more things, which you don't get when it is a graphic novel. Okay, so and I'll explain that to you. Maybe I can also share like how my thought process when I read something, because I think I'm there. I have similarity. Anyway, we'll get to that. Okay, let's do the negative things first. How's that? Knowing what we know now, that picture of the assembly with Hani hits different and not in a good way. That's funny that his name is Debak. He was named after obviously the Korean word Debak. I was contemplating between uyu, which is milk in Korea, or Debak. But I thought he's awesome, so I should call him awesome. Is the Seven Fates Chaco that is paperback? I've seen an Amazon version mentioned in the past discussion where it was sold to another company and is disliked. I think that's the other. So okay, so this one I don't know if there is a paperback now. But when I bought it when it was first announced. So I pre-ordered it. It was already this hardbound. Now there is another version which is licensed, which was made and created by a Japanese company. I did not like that, but because based on the teaser that they provided, they changed the story drastically. Which I mean, that's for if others like it, then that's fine with me. It's not my thing. I like original stories to be original stories. I like them. I like it when they keep the plot, not change it. And I also love the characters here in the Seven Fates Chakos. I love all of them as they are. So when they get changed, I just lose interest. So if people like that, that's a Japanese one. I don't know where they are with that novel. I know that they released the teaser and then parts of the chapter of several chapters or something, and I just don't like it. And I've mentioned to you guys before that anyway. So if people like it, then go ahead. Where did I get my Amazon? Amazon. I bought it from Amazon. I think you can also get it from Barnes and Noble. Hmm. Okay, so let's talk about this first. 30 minutes. Oh, good. I have a timer here. All right, let us go to this. So there are just certain updates about the case. Some of it I've actually posted on Patreon. One of which is that Hybe actually requested that they be allowed to use the decision of this case in the put option case. So Min Hee-jin actually has many cases that are in court right now getting heard. Okay, so now, but I'm jumping the gun. So this is a question that was asked by several people on X specifically. Because if you would remember, during the height of this ignore her comment, Hani posted something on her stories, I think Instagram stories, claiming that she has more evidence that she would be submitting, proving that the ignore her comment actually happened. That's what she said. And she even said that she has a recording of her conversation with a security guard. And the security guard said that he was instructed to delete the CCTV footage. So something like that. I may be inaccurate in some of the details, but the bottom line is that she claimed she has more evidence. Okay, so this is part of what she posted on Instagram. I have a lot to say, but I've been holding back simply because I don't see the need to have this escalate. To escalate this issue any bigger than it already is. But if you think you have the audacity to make even more false assumption about us than you already have, then I won't stay quiet. Okay. And then she also said, how can you take one part of a conversation? Because this was when Adore submitted some Kakao Talk messages between her and Min. And in that conversation, it seemed as though she was saying that no, I understand why they did not say hello. It's nothing. There's so much competition, or I just laughed about it, or something like that. But then Min was the one who was sort of forming the narrative to make the interaction worse than it looks like. Okay, so she said, how can you take some part of a conversation and shift the meaning of it to benefit your point of view when I was the one that I'm sorry, it's just hard to read. When I was the one that wrote that message, while you present yourself as a company that wants the best for us. Okay, so this was two things that she posted after that conversation was released. Now, um people are saying that the reason she hasn't really submitted was this all today. No, it was not all today. This was several months ago after the text message between her and Min was released to the media. And just want to clarify that the evidence that are submitted to the court that's in Korea, the public has access to it. So the reporters can actually look through the pieces of evidence that are being submitted. Now, a lot of people are claiming that she is not submitting the evidence that she has simply because she's too kind and she doesn't want to get ILIT into trouble, because they say that if she submits her documents, then people are going to realize, oh, ILIT members are really bullies. Now, that is not true. She can, if she wants. So, as I've said, all evidence in a civic case, which this is a civic case. This is accessible to the public and to the media. You just go to the court, their library, and then you look through the evidence and you'll have access to it. Okay, so that is the default. However, she can actually request the court to seal pieces of evidence if and then she'll just need to provide the reason. So if she thinks that her evidence will put the career of ILIT or Le Seraphim or anybody into trouble, then she can just tell the court that I don't want them to get into trouble. I just want this piece of evidence to be looked into in relation to our case. So it's not true that she's not submitting it simply because she doesn't want to get ILIT into trouble. She can get it sealed. Okay. Um, seriously, yeah. So how old is Hani? I think 22, 21, something like that. Okay. So yeah, if she has it, she thinks it's going to win them the case, and obviously they want to win the case because they want that contract to be terminated. Then she can just submit and then request the court to seal it. And the court will most likely will, especially because there are minors in ILIT. Okay. So there also are, if you would remember, some inconsistencies in her statement. So some of the evidence that were submitted by the law firm of Hybe were actually distributed by the media. So they access it, just want to make it clear that it's free for everybody to see. So they were able to access it and then they just distributed it to the media. So in here, um they let me just make it bigger because it's hard for me to see. Okay. No, that's not what I want. Okay. So all right. So this is actually part of that conversation that were published to the media. And it was what she was communicating to Min Hee-jin regarding the incident. So she said that, well, I was just on the fourth floor hallway practicing some dance moves, where the elevator room is. Then there are three ILIT members. They asterisk it, but ILIT members and their manager came out, and I greeted them as usual. The four of them went into the styling room while I stayed in the hallway since it was almost time to leave. But then, about 5 to 10 minutes later, those four came out of the styling room again, and I heard the door open, followed by their manager. Just pretend you don't know her and walk past. So when they passed by, the manager completely avoided looking at me, and one member just looked towards the manager while saying something like, and it was blocked out. So this is part of what she was saying. Okay. But in the next so this was part of this is the second revision that they submitted to the court. But the previous conversation that she had, she actually stated uh, that she does not remember. Wait, okay, where is that? Okay, there you go. Um, as if you can see the yellow chat, that is Min. So Min asked her, was the manager telling them not to accept your greeting? And Hani stated, I'm not sure. She said that in the initial conversation that she had, that she, in the initial text message that she exchanged with Min, she said, I'm not sure. So so that is that's some of the inconsistencies. Now the question of the video, the court, what the court is actually saying is that it is irrelevant whether or not we find the video, because there is no audio, and the whole thing, your whole thing is a conversation, and the CCTV does not have audio. So whether or not we find it does not matter because I won't hear it. That's what the judge is saying. So do remember that you cannot accuse somebody of something in court. You cannot accuse somebody of something and then just tell the court, I can't prove it. Just take my word for it. It does not work that way. Otherwise, people are just free to accuse anybody of anything without having to submit an evidence. So, if you're going to accuse somebody of something, do make sure that you are actually able to prove it. And then there are inconsistencies in what she submitted. So initially she was saying that I really wasn't sure. And she even said that she doesn't mind. She understands there's so much competition in the media between groups. So she was like, "Yeah, I really don't mind. Like, don't worry about it." And then it just flipped. So okay, so that I hope is clear. Um, Hybe's audit of Min Heejin was not. So the judge said this is another thing because this has a bigger effect in the industry. Hybe's audit. So the judge said Hybe's audit of Min Heejin was not retaliatory. Min Heejin was the first to start a public opinion war after April 3 and April 11. So between April 3 and April 11. So a lot of people were asking, well, what happened in April 3? Because the first thing that at least many Western fans heard about was already when the audit started, right? So obviously the court is saying the audit is not retaliatory. It is a appropriate reaction to what they learned you were doing, Minhijin was doing. And so a lot of people were asking, so someone then what happened in April 3? If the court is saying that you started this public opinion war in April 3, what happened in April 3? That was when, first of all, do remember that um they got hold of the judge accepted the Kakao Talk messages. So in those Kakao Talk messages, there were already timestamps of her conversation with her vice president and other personnel planning the exit of Adore and New Jeans from Hybe. Okay. So, but April was when all of these accounts started popping up. And they turned out to be anti Hybe, anti Adore, and also they were anti I'll It, haters of Le Seraphim and stuff like that, but they were new. So this was part of the things that they were that the court was referring to. So she knew, the court knew, that the court, meaning the judge, said that, well, I saw the text messages and I saw all the evidence that were submitted. It started April 3. So when they audited Min Hee Jin, it's not retaliatory. It was just an appropriate reaction for what you were doing. I would say the manager probably told Eyelet to ignore her because of the slander that was going on in the media. But the court is saying that it doesn't even matter. Even if you can show me, that's the court, what was the court was saying. Even if you can show me, can I hear it? I can't. So what is it? This just your word against somebody's word, which that's not how it works in court. So okay, next. So now Hybe already requested New Jeans already appealed. The members of New Jeans already appealed the decision. Okay. So, but Hybe is requesting to use the New Jeans trial judgment in the lawsuit with Minheejin over her put option. So a lot of people are questioning or claiming that they can't do that because Nugent's already appealed. So a lot of people are claiming, nah, you can't do that because it's already in appeal. So you can't use the decision for another case. So I'm not a lawyer. None of this is a legal advice. This is just a start of what I would say research. So you definitely should do your own research and consult lawyers, but this is not a legal advice. Okay. Now, wait a minute. Where is that? So the question, the response to this one is that they can, because when you appeal a case, it does not render the decision useless. It does not undo the decision. It simply says that there is an appeal, but it does not retroactively render the decision useless. So they definitely can. However, they cannot use it as a piece of evidence. They can only use it as a reference. Okay. So that's the answer to that question. Next. This is what I don't understand. They want Min back. Min doesn't want back. So what is this case even be appealed? I don't get it. So what they want is for Min to be reinstated, not just as a producer, but also as a CEO. So they said that the only way we're gonna come back is if you reinstate her as a producer and as a CEO. Hybe and Adore said we can reinstate her as a producer. They offered her the position, but she declined. Okay. All right. So next. Now there is a talk that there is some speculation, theories, not speculation, but theories primarily among different lawyers who are not necessarily involved in the case, but they know a little bit about the law in South Korea. So these are some discussions happening online. So they believe that the strategy of Sejong is actually um, different. Okay. So and something that many people aren't anticipating, but they are not dumb. In other words, there is a play behind what they are doing. So essentially, what they want is to get the court to terminate the contract on the basis of Nujine's broken trust post mortem, meaning they are just going to do as much damage they after the girls terminated the contract, and then later on down the line after years get the court to say, yep, at this stage, after 2 years 3 years, it's too damaged, you can't go back, let's just terminate the contract. That's the strategy. Okay, so let me explain it and lay it out for you. Okay, so why are they doing this? Because the penalty, if they get the contract terminated now, the penalty is too expensive. It's going to be about 600 to 800 billion won. Okay, so they can't afford it. However, if it is the court that orders the termination, they usually bring the penalty down because the court is going to think, well, it's too much for a person to pay. So we're just going to bring down the cost. So their strategy is to drag it as long as they could to a point where even the court will say there's too much that has happened. So we're just going to terminate the contract and they will impose the penalty and it's going to be lower. Okay. So there is a precedent to this. And of course, they will get the new company, whoever they sign to pay the penalty. And because there's such a big act, then most likely, aside from the company paying the penalty, the members of New Jeans will also receive a stake in the current company, right? So they're probably going to be offered a stake portion of the company. So the strategy is for New Jeans initially when they terminated the contract. They knew, Sejong already knew and already advised them. These are theories, by the way. Theories. Okay. So New Jeans already knew and they were already advised by Sejong that it's not gonna work. The court will not uphold that termination because you don't terminate a contract that way. However, we can drag this case longer up until the court themselves sees, okay, this is beyond repair, let's just terminate the contract. Okay, so they were counting after they terminate the contract, after the girls terminated the contract, they were counting on Adore or Hype doing extreme measures to prove that the relationship sorry, there is an error in my slides, but they were counting on Adore and Hype to do extreme measures to try and get them back. And that includes lawsuits, media play, pressuring them to come back, holding off their pay, because that's usually what management companies do when a group or an act refuses to um, come back to work for the company. So that's what they were counting on doing. And so they will use all of those to prove to the court that we can't come back after all of these things that they have done. We can't come back anymore. And so the court then will say, okay, well, then it's too bad that, it's, I really can't, they can't work with you. So we're just going to have to terminate the contract. So the conclusion is that intentionally, however, that's not how it worked, right? In the first phase of the plan, after they terminated, Hybe and Adore continued working for them. They continued paying the girls, which was actually acknowledged and recognized by the court. They continued giving them brand endorsements. And then they also submitted to the court the new album. So they submitted to them without the voices of the girls, of course, but they already had songs. The concept is full. They already have contracts with photographers, music video directors, producers from Grammy award winning producers, and all of those stuff. And they presented it to the court. And so the court said, okay, you're still working for these girls. It's just that the girls refuse to work with you. So the court said, okay, well, you can't intentionally create chaos after you terminate the contract and then use that chaos to say the trust is already broken. You can't do that just because it's, even if it's already broken now, you can't still use that as a proof to terminate the contract because you created it after you terminated the contract. So that's what the court is saying. Okay. um so in the court is saying that they don't want, in their decision, the court said we don't want to set a precedent for artists to create trouble after the termination. If we agree to what you're saying, then all other artists are just going to say do what you're doing, and we don't want that because then contracts will be rendered useless. So this is the full decision that they read to the court and they gave to New Jeans. All right. So now the primary concern of a lot of people is that because of this case, the power of agencies are much greater, and the artists will now have a harder time if they want to truly terminate the contract because their welfare is not being promoted, because this case solidify the rights of the management more than it did the artists. Okay. So that is what many are upset about. It's just that it favored that's the Korean decision. It favored the management more than anybody else. Okay. So um there is another case that use that strategy that I was talking about, where the artist actually created trouble after they terminated the contract already, and it was the name of the artist is Son Song Yeon. Okay, so what she did was, um, she terminated the contract, and then the court said, "Nah, you can't do that. It is not. You can't just terminate that way just because you don't want to work for the company anymore." So just like New Jeans, all of her claims were dismissed by the court. Okay. She appealed, which is the same thing that New Jeans is doing. So she appealed and then just refuses to back down. Okay. So after that, after she appealed, um, the agency sued her again because she continued working. After she submitted the appeal, she continued working. So the agency asked the court, make her stop because she's still under contract with us. The case is still under appeal. But then she said that she told the court, don't you can't ask me to stop working because I'm trying to earn a living. You cannot prevent me from working using my expertise, and music is my expertise. So you can't make me stop. Otherwise, I won't have any money, source of money to sustain my living. And so ultimately, and so that went on for years. And then ultimately, the court said at some point, 2 to 3 years down the road, the court said, down the line, the court said, yeah, at this, not now it's really broken because then she won't work for you. You don't want to let go of your conditions. So the court was the one who terminated the contract and then made her pay a lower fee. So what the Sejong is actually trying to do, again, just want to make sure that this are some theories of some reporters, is the same thing. To get it to a point where even the court will see, okay, the trust is really broken now. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. It's just that at this very stage, you can work with each other. So we're just going to terminate the contract. They will pay a fine, but it will be much lower. So allegedly, that's what they're trying to do. Um, Okay, so I've answered this question. Is that point clear? Do you have questions on that point? If you do, ask it in the comment section. So I discussed this initially in the first part. Can HYBE submit the October 30, 2025 district court decision as evidence in the put option? And the answer is yes. So this is the reference where I got the answer. I also asked my friend who's a Korean lawyer. So yes, HYBE can submit the district court's decision as evidence in the put option proceedings and most likely even in the defamation cases because the appeal does not retroactively nullify the decision. That is the logic, the rationale behind it. Just because you objected, just because you appealed, it does not retroactively nullify the decision of the court. It merely challenges the finality, but not nullify the decision. So yes, they can. Can they just keep on appealing forever? No. So you have the Court of Appeals, after that, the Supreme Court. So, will the police actually investigate the roach now? It's going to put some pressure on them. Most likely, they are going the Kim and Chang, the law firm of Hybe, will probably go to the police and show them the decision and tell them, well, the court actually said that she did something wrong. So, okay, so this is the reference, just in case you want to look it up. Article 202 in their regulation, it says courts evaluate all relevant evidence freely. So yes, they can do that. They can submit that as a decision. No exclusion for pending appeals. It's assessed for probative value based on its reasoning and factual overlaps. Um, Now, Min can object in the put option. They can actually, when the court use that, for example, Hybe submits that, Kim and Shang submits that as evidence, Min's team can object. They can say, nope, you can do that. But most likely the court is not going to listen to that objection because it's a court decision. So it's like you're telling me to not use the decision that my peer made. It's like, no. What does New Jeans get out of doing this? The possibility they believe, this is theory. Again, just want to clarify that. The possibility that at down the road, in about a year or two, the court is going to say the relationship now is just broken beyond repair. Let's just terminate it and then have them pay a much lower fee. The judge in the Adore New Jeans case effectively blamed everything on. That's what actually happened. Yeah. Now, can Hybe or Nugent submit new evidence on the appeal? This is another question. And they said yes. So, again, this is not a legal advice. This is a start of a research which you can verify and do yourself. Yes, both parties can submit new evidence during the appeals proceedings. South Korean High Court operate under a de novo principle, which means that they can re examine the case as if it is a new trial. But when it comes to the Supreme Court, so there is going to be a hearing, and usually it's about 3 to 4 court dates. But when it gets to the Supreme Court, that's when it actually becomes more of a review. It's very rare, according to my lawyer friends from Korea, it's very rare for the Supreme Court to actually ask for a hearing. It's not that it hasn't happened, but mostly it's a review of existing documents. Okay, now there are limits to the evidence that they can submit. It must relate to facts at the time of the original trial. So they can't submit things that just happened. It has to have happened during the original trial. Can they file for bankruptcy to avoid paying? Yes, they can. However, the court can do the same thing they did for TVXQ, which is to ask what they did for TVXQ. They asked the three members that left SM Entertainment, to pay SM a part of their fee until they pay off the debt. But they can, yes. um can the court refuse to hear the appeal? They can, but it's rare that that they actually reject an appeal. Usually they still review the case and then just decide on it very, very um fast. No new arguments. They can if it is an argument that they need to clarify based on the old hearing. So, if for example, so decision came October 30, they cannot submit new arguments or new evidence that happened November 1. It needs to have happened October 30 or earlier. So the timeline is that there will most likely be 2 to 4 hearings, and it's going to last, usually they said, 6 months. So maybe June of next year is what we're looking at. Okay, in your opinion, do you think the police will forward the witches case to the prosecutors? I think they will. Yeah, I think they will this time. The court already decided on it. I mean, the court said that they found something. It's so odd that they won't. So yeah, most likely they will. The strength of the evidence that they will be giving to the prosecutor's office is questionable, but I think they will forward it to the prosecutor's office. Do you think after the lawsuit with New Jeans, Adore will sue MHJ for tampering, or would they be satisfied with just Hybe suing? I have I think that is it. For if they can get, if they get the decision with Hybe, yeah. From the lawsuit of the Hybe, I don't think they will sue anymore. Shocks. So hearing will coincide with BTS comeback. What a shocker. How do you relegate the girls to a location in the building? Where is Cortis's space? I think they know that the girls, said this in the video that I published last week, I think. Friday. I think they know that New Jeans won't come back. I just it just I can't imagine how they would imagine they will come back. I think they know that the girls won't come back ever. That there is absolutely nothing they can do to get the girls to come back unless they reappoint Min as the CEO. So I think for them at this stage, it's just salvaging what matters more, and what matters more is to make sure that this is not a precedent for other artists to sue the company just because they didn't get what they want. So I think that's what they're trying to do. They just want to make sure that in the future it is very clear. You can't just not honor a contract. And you definitely cannot dictate the company who is going to be the CEO. There was actually one comment in YouTube that I felt was very, very interesting. They said that I to a certain they she I think it's a she She feels that New Jeans kind of felt like they were BTS in terms of level of success, that they have the right to dictate what they want to do with their music, with their career, who's going to lead the company, and all of those stuff, without really realizing the journey that BTS had to take to get to where they were, for Hybe or for Bang Shiyuk to actually make sure it's a private company, it's not a subsidiary, for them to have absolute control over everything that they were doing. And again, these are all speculation, okay? These are all just opinions of people. I thought that was interesting, maybe because I've mentioned several times that Min never mistreated these girls. Not meaning they treated her like queens, and they made her believe they were queens. And that is her strength. That is why the girls are so attached to her, because she empowered them so much. And I think that's not an impossible thing, that the girls really believe that they got to that level, that they can affect management decision. And so when they put pressure on Hype, they felt like, yeah, there is a chance that either we will be set free or they will get her back. Um, but the court but the court has set a precedent if they made a way for an artist to drag out legal case until the contract gets ended with a lower penalty. That is already a precedent, yes. So that was a case that happened long time ago, so there is a precedent like that. It's not the court now that's setting that. That's on already a precedent. Now maybe the court is going to change that, let's see, but these are just things that, well, of course, these lawyers already know past cases and what happened, and they're saying that maybe that's the play that they are going for, because there is a precedent like that. So let's see what's going to happen. She talked crap about the girls, though. Yeah, but they don't believe that, right? And she keeps on saying that she doesn't remember the context. It could have been a joke or something. Adoy Boy Group's debut before any end of NJ court chaos. MHJ was doing everything. Okay, let's they don't where's that comment? They don't even produce their own music or choreograph. What kind of creative control did they think they have to compare themselves to BTS? When you're I don't know if you've watched the documentary of um I believe so, several documentaries already. The ones that I do remember speaking about this thing that I'm going to be talking about are Michael Jackson, Taylor Swift, and Eminem. Okay. So this three talked about at some point, and I wish I kept all of these videos, okay. But they talked about how when you are popular, there is a big tendency for people around you to feed you with information that would make you feel good and make you feel and make you believe in yourself more, because they need you to continue doing that so that you can do your job well. So they'll continue doing that. And so part of that, I think, is that part of that maybe Min Heejin really believes in them, and part of that maybe it's just being a good CEO. She needed to motivate the girls, and so she made them believe, yep, you are that powerful, you are that great, and it's easy to believe good things when they're what good things that are being said to you about you. When MHJ was fired, rumor was they never told New Jeans, they heard it from the media. Probably. I mean, why would you? I mean, if the CEO of my company, the one that I used to work with, if the CEO got fired, I, th- I it does not affect my job. I still need to do my job. So they have no obligation to tell me. So Hive's 16th floor won't be occupied until 2029. Okay, so let's move on to the next. The Can we change the subject now, please? How do you feel about K-pop concerts back to China? Viva. I will discuss that in a bit. Soju Bomber, but Min was never fired. She was demoted from CEO position. She then quit the company. She was removed as the CEO, and then they didn't take away her seat in the board, and then they offered her a producer role. She's going to start treating them fairly bad. Okay, a door is still on the 16th floor. A door is still in the 16th floor. Why do it feel shades? Why does it feel shades of Jungle Book? The smoke hypnotizing Mowgli. Okay, next topic. Um, do you want to do Seven Fates Chakos or news and updates? They couldn't tell new jeans because they wouldn't go to high building. Cordy's performance at Music Expo was amazing. They're always amazing. This group, Big Hit did it right. Big Hit did it right. um, news. Okay, news. Okay, let's do news first. All right, because you saw his picture. You saw Jin's picture. All right. So this is I'm going to go so in between the news that I'm going to be providing, there are some emotional support pictures because I know you like them. So this one I found Jin just looks stunning, naturally stunning. Okay. So that's one of the pictures. And here's another picture from that concert. I got this from X. People were sending them to me. So this is the first night, I believe, day one of the encore. It's his just he looks so good and he belongs to the stage. Okay, did JK find the Ian cookie? No, he has not. He said he's scared that he's going to get diabetes. And then this is one of his concerts. It fits him so well. I really wish they would have another hanbok concept, like either a merch. I'm sure they will because they have a partnership with the National Museum, but they always look so good in hanbok. So he looks so good here. He looks so cute. This is also day one, I believe, with a shiny, shimmering, splendid shirt. He does not age. He's so beautiful. He does not age. And congratulations to J Hope. So we don't have the complete Billboard Hot 100 list yet, but we know that they ended up in Billboard number 6 in Billboard Global 200, number 6, and then Billboard Global 200 excluding the US. So congratulations to them. Number 3 in excluding US. And then for Billboard Hot 100, it was actually interesting. You know, talk of the charts aren't 100% accurate in their estimates. They're there, but not 100% accurate. Um, Not even 90. They get the positioning wrong, but they usually are correct in who's going to go in or not. But they failed as well before. But it was very interesting for Billboard Hot 100 this week because for Talk of the Charts, they actually guessed the prediction was that they were going to Golden of K-pop Demon Hunters was going to go back to number 1 and Ophelia was going to off new Taylor Swift was going to go number 2, but it was actually switched in the final one. We have the top 10 and Ophelia remained in number 1 and Golden still in number 2. Yeah. But there are some interesting entries in there while we wait for whether for the final position of Golden. But I was just this quote by Jin was very interesting to me. She was talking about the story behind spaghetti, and she said that she actually came up with the idea of spaghetti. So for those of you who don't know, Jin was the alpha and the omega of this entire concept. She was the one who thought of the concept. She developed it. So she actually wrote like a presentation, went to Source Music, and sort of sold her idea to them, and they agreed and they developed it. And she wrote majority of the song. So she said that we came up with the idea of spaghetti while promoting Hot, our previous album. We wanted to express how certain things like a food you don't even really like can get stuck in your head. It's oddly addictive and like a guilty pleasure. We thought it'll be interesting to connect that how sometimes when people don't enjoy what you do, they still have a lot to say. And I love this because I feel like we should actually take this advice always make sure that the hate towards us, towards BTS, we used it to our advantage and to the advantage of BTS. And she said that in a way, we're actually thankful for that kind of attention and energy for people taking the time to watch, react, and engage with what we make. So I thought it was very interesting and such a healthy mindset for her. Okay. Hi, Jov. You're okay. So we talked about the Min Heejin case already because you came in late, just so you know. Okay. And then the some of the interesting, so just want to hype that mindset that Lissarafim has now, specifically Yunjin. She's learning how to channel the negative energy of other people towards something that she will benefit from. So I hope that and we've done this before, we always take control of the narrative. Whenever there is a negative trending, for example, trending hashtag that is negative, we'll steal that and make sure that when people search for that trend, they actually see something positive. So we can do that. We did that before. We can do it again. But some interesting predictions for Hot 100, Gabriela might actually go up 5 spots. So this is going to be a new peak for them. They most likely will land at number 38 is the estimate, and this is going to be their 12th week inside the chart for Gabriela. And people are now estimating that they might actually hit top 20 at some point in the next month, or this month they're going to hit top 20. I hope they do so. But 12 weeks inside Billboard Hot 100 is amazing. Also, Strategy and Takedown both are predicted to stay inside Billboard Hot 100. If you would remember the last revision of this chart, they said that they will actually automatically review all the songs and then on a case by case basis decide whether it's worth keeping inside Billboard Hot 100 or not. So this two songs actually benefited from that rule change. So right now one is in 70 and then the other one is in or 72 and then the other one is in 77. But one Takedown is on its 17th week inside the chart, and then Strategy is on its 16th week inside the chart. So Takedown is now the longest charting song by a Korean girl group inside Billboard Hot 100. So congratulations to Twice. They also are their concert, their tour is now officially the tour with the most stops in North America. I think they have 35 and I think they're going to go for 40 because they'll keep on adding dates, and they might break the record for the most number of attendees for a Korean act. So let's see what's going to happen. But I'm just so happy that after 10 years they still are in their game. Okay, clarification. So there was somebody on X that sent me this and they published this. Allegedly, they're claiming that this is the streams, the most number of streams by a Korean act in Apple Music. So they said that BTS has 19 million streams, Blackpink has 18.8 million streams. This is in Apple Music, remember. Twice is 11.5 million, New Jeans 11.4 million, aespa 9.8 million, and Le Sserafim 4.4 million. Okay. The main problem is that Apple Music does not publish the number of streams. Always remember that. They don't publish the number of streams. So, no, is the answer. The last time they published anything was in the most top 500 most streamed songs ever. And there were two songs by a Korean native act, and both were from BTS. Okay. So just want to clarify that. Also, um, Apple Music actually released a PR, a press release to the press several years ago, and they said that BTS was actually the first Korean act to reach 1 billion streams in Apple Music. And that came from Apple. They did not say how many streams BTS had. They just said that they're the first Korean act to ever reach 1 billion streams. And the article is still there. So don't believe this number. Now, I actually know where she got it. She got it from K Warb. Okay. So the question is, does this mean that the numbers that are published by K Warb is not relevant, not um, accurate at all? It's never 100% accurate. They're using an API. But one way you can actually verify with Spotify, because they're the only ones that publish a number aside from YouTube music, YouTube videos, sorry, is by actually comparing the numbers that are being published by Apple, by Spotify on their chart, because they have Spotify charts where they publish the top charts or the most streamed songs on a daily and weekly basis. And they also do it by country. So it's very simple. You just look at their chart, look at what is being published by K-Warb, and you'll see, okay, there's about 7% difference between the two. But okay, basically the positionings are good. And if you're just making estimates, it's good enough. Because they're linked via an API, there's most likely a delay in the transmission of the numbers. But for Apple Music, they do not publish the number of streams. So what is being published on their website is just estimates based on the um, formula that was provided by Apple Music 10 years ago. So, no. Okay. Just wanted to clarify that. Okay. Because it went around like, oh, the difference between number one and number two and number three, that's not a lot. Now, as I've mentioned earlier, Te was actually uh, announced as the new brand ambassador for Tier Tier. And it is a Japanese brand, makeup brand. They said that they're very famous for this, because I don't do makeup. I can't remember what it is. And my only beauty regimen is just the virgin coconut oil. So I can't remember what it is. But it is that they are a Japanese brand, and I think the reason they decided to go for Te is because they want to go international. I think they're going to start distributing internationally. They want to go to the international market, and judging by the success of what V actually did for Compost Coffee, they probably think, yeah, that's a good bet. So I did a mini case study, not an extensive one, but mini case study on how V actually helped Compost Coffee in South Korea. So from about 350 franchise, after he was announced as the brand ambassador for Compost Coffee, they announced that they now have 3,000 franchise stores. So that's the brand power of V, considering he doesn't like coffee. So, okay. So, Caution Foundation, that's the number one thing. Okay. So, let's, if you can, I don't know if you're into makeup, but one way of helping this would be to actually buy the product. So he is their first global ambassador. Yeah, they were local, very very local but they're pretty popular in Japan already. So these are some of if you can just go to their website, look through some of the things that you can buy. I'm anticipating they're gonna get distributed in Sephora. That was a great essay, Fairly. I hope you do something similar for different marketing goals. I will. The main advantage, people were asking why I only did V and Gin, because those two brands, for Compost Coffee and for Gin Ramen, they actually published the numbers, and they also directly credited V and Gin. So it's easy, right? It's the brands that are saying, yep, it was because of them, and these are the numbers. So it was easy for me to do it. I'll try to dig deeper into the numbers of all the other brands that they are representing and see what we're going to, what we can get. Okay. All right. So he also seems to be, based on the lips, is going to be the brand ambassador for Youth. Let's wait for the announcement. Misosu all going to the theater for the okay. Bye. Tier is pretty popular on TikTok. Okay, so this is Yunth. Let's wait for the announcement. I'm sure it's gonna come anytime now. This is another emotional support pic. I just saw this in my. I was browsing through some stuff. I saw this and I thought he was so cute. And of course, this was during his tour. He looks like he's 18 or 16 or something. He looks so cute. Being Compost Coffee ambassador was a smart move of my tete because it's a way to have his face everywhere. Of course, now with Coke and Snow Peak, you have no escape. Not that I want one. Hey, I tried the spicy gin ramen for supper. I already like the mild one. Okay, I love this picture. I super love this picture. This is the moment where Jin asked V to sit down and he sang to him. So love the brotherly moments that they have. I love the entire I love the two shows of course, but I my favorites second favorites there are the my favorites would be his solo moments, but second favorite would be his interaction with his brothers because it's so natural, especially with Vmin because he didn't know that they were gonna go up on the stage to sing with him. So okay. Love Jen for this. I cried. V was so emotional. He was so emotional. I have some pictures here. This is the soulmates, Vimin. Okay. So they both did not know they were gonna go and participate in the second half of the concert. I love his ansam, by the way. V's ansam. I don't know who styled him, but it was on point. Whoever did it, I hope he does his style all the time because it was so on point. It's likely they get together on stage and forgot the rest of the world. They do. And I love it when they were just playing around, even with J Hope and with Jungkook in day one, when they were just like running around and messing around. It was like, I think they forgot that they're in a concert. I hope they don't remember because it was just so natural. Okay. So funny story, I bought Tier skincare products before I found out that Te was the brand ambassador because I love and use Japanese skincare products. Okay, but Veeman got a lot of backlash. You know, a lot of people, a lot of armies would actually send me stuff on X. There's like, oh, there's a hate train. I'm like, why am I not seeing any of this? And I realized that I've cleaned up my timeline so well. It's like the hangout space of fairies. It's like it's all positive. So okay. So this is another picture of him. So beautiful. He's such his face is just structured perfectly. It's like this just perfection. Facial perfection. Okay, this is another one. This was when he was crying. This was when he was crying. And I actually tweeted about this because this one I kind of heard the backlash. Like people were saying, oh, he was like a pick me or whatever. And I'm like, no, he's just like do you can you imagine loving something so much and he loves his music so much, he loves army so much, he loves his brother so much, he loves the stage so much, and then he got deprived of it for 3 years, and finally getting to do that one thing you love the most, of course it's going to be overwhelming to you. I actually love that because if you would remember, Jin said that he found V crying in the backstage, and he decided to bring him over to sort of take in the view of armies, of the stage and stuff. I actually felt privileged that V actually agreed to come out and share that vulnerable moment to armies because it was truly he could have said no, but he allowed us to see it, so I thought it was so sweet of him. And this was when and this was when he came out the second time when he said that he was about to leave. He had his backpack. He didn't bother putting it down. He said he already had his backpack with him. He was about to leave, but he was told that he need to get on the stage, and he just agreed. Okay, so more pictures of V. I can't wait to see them back on stage. I can't wait. I remember. I think I did a video several maybe a week ago talking about that. I think when I hear the first note of the first song that they release, it's going to be goosebumps for me. Okay. Okay. Glad that Jin did not leave him alone. Yeah. And I'm glad that he shared it with all of us. So, okay. And then we have more pictures. I love this picture of Jimin. This was sent to me by someone, but the Fabulous Jimin, I think, is the X account. Okay. These are all his pictures. I love this. This was when Jin threw water at him. So um I love his picture as well. Love it. I love the lighting. I love everything about it. Okay, and I love the innocence here when he didn't know what he was supposed to do. It's so Jimin, and you can see his lips. Very, very Jimin. I love this pics too. This is Jungkook, the second time that they went on stage to join Jin. More Jungkook. First time on stage, the second time on stage when they J Hope and he joined him again. Okay. More Jungkook. The other one was on the backstage. They officially released that picture. They were so happy. I think that was when Jimin got hit by the water. Yes, yeah. I love the back of his jacket, by the way, of Jungkook. Love it. The men are going to be bawling for the entire first show. I think we're going to be bawling with them. I don't think I'll be able to concentrate on the songs that they're saying. I'm just going to cry. And then Hybe India is formally open now. And this is their tagline: when Indian voices become global stories. I cut my hair. Yes, I did. Oh, yeah, Dodgers won. Congratulations to us. If you are from LA, congratulations. It was a happy day. We're going to be on a high for about a week, I guess. And then we start going back to work. And then, okay, some news. So, if you would remember, they stopped the construction of the Goyang Stadium. And this was going to be, supposedly, it was going to be the biggest stadium in South Korea. And they said that money just disappeared. They don't know where it went. It was supposed to be done by now. It was supposed to be done by 2024, not done. But they actually had it, they bidded it out on who's going to get it, but Live Nation is most likely going to get it. And they said that it is because a lot of people actually offered, but it was only Live Nation who finalized it. They were the only ones who filed a tender, meaning they were the only ones who submitted a document stating here's the bid, here is everything, blah blah blah. So by default, it is most likely going to be them. They will own that stadium. I don't know if that is good news or bad news, because I still prefer, like, for the Philippines, I would want Philippine companies to construct important structures in my country, right? So I don't know how to feel about that, and knowing much of a how greedy Live Nation is, I don't know what they're going to do. But anyway, it's most likely it's going to be them. So they will own that stadium. But I guess the positive thing is that at least it's going to be done. Okay. So if you would remember, I told you guys that BTS, Hybe, and Big Hit are actually starting to convert some of the songs of Hybe acts into NFTs. And this will essentially allow people to co own part of the song, or to invest in the song, own a part of the song or invest in the song. So they started with The Truth Untold, and they are rolling it out into other songs. Now, Universal Music Studios, with which they have a distribution deal with, signed a deal with different AI companies and different platforms, including YouTube. Okay. And this is going to affect everybody that is signed under them or has a deal with Universal Music, and that includes BTS. Okay. They said that Universal Music Studios recently teamed up with Udio, which is an AI music startup, and Stability AI, which is known for image generation technology. So they are going to build new tools that will help artists, producers, and even video creators make music more efficiently and creatively. So the question is, what does that mean exactly? So now what you will be able to do, what an artist will be able to do, is that I can um, legally use the image of universal artists using AI, but they will get paid. It's just going to be easier because now, if I'm a creator in YouTube, for example, and then at some point, it's not happening yet, but it will happen in the future and very soon, then there will be an option for me to choose, for example, this is just an example. I choose BTS. Okay, BTS. I want to use the image of BTS. I'm going to use AI to manipulate their image. They will get paid because YouTube will know that I use their image. So they're going to get paid. The same thing is true with their music. I can use their music for whatever purpose that I need. Of course, for as long as I stay within the terms and conditions of YouTube, meaning artists will most likely put limitations as to how I can use their image. For example, if they are endorsing a luxury brand, I cannot use their image to promote or hype a competing brand, for example. So things like that. Most likely nothing explicit, nothing R18. It has to be wholesome or whatever. But the point is that soon enough, it's going to be available for YouTube creators. And if they struck a deal with YouTube, they're probably going to strike a deal with other platforms like TikTok. But creators will soon be able to use and license the voice, images, and videos of different acts legally. So they will get paid. Okay. Um, now, this is part of it. So aside from their image, I can also use their voice and style licensing. Again, they will be paid. They will know that I'm using it, and I will be bound by the terms and conditions of the platform that will be set by the artist and the of UMG. But the bottom line is that through I can generate an image based on them. AI images can be very problematic if images are misused for bad purposes. Yeah. Well, there are most likely they're going to be very strict and very detailed as to how I can use their image. So one example would be right now in YouTube. I don't know if any one of you are actually creators in YouTube, but if you are in YouTube, for example, there's a list of songs that you can use. And some of it you pay 99 cents, some of it you pay 1.99 cents and whatever. And then if you choose that, then you can download that, you can use it for your audio, for your video, and then they automatically put the credit, whatever it is that they need to put on your video and in your description box. They'll do it automatically. But that's already available. There's a slew of songs that we can use, and we can use that to mix and whatever. So this is a step above that, because then now you're not just using the image and the song, you can also manipulate it using AI. But everything will of course be disclosed because that's YouTube. Now, other things, I think they're going to roll it over to other platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and whatever. But do know that that is in the horizon. Not actually in the horizon, but it's in the list of things that will happen in the next several years. The implication is that now, if creators are able to use your image, then it is more important for artists not just to create good songs, but also to build a really good brand. Because then creators are going to look for celebrities that are consistent with the branding that we need for the content that we're creating. Okay. Eminem is currently suing Meta for using his audio without his consent. Does he still own his masters? Physical music sales surge. So this is another finding. So they made their Q3 report to their stakeholders. So physical music sales surged 23%. They said that they were surprised that people are now buying vinyl, even though they don't have vinyl players. So they said that one of the learnings that they had was actually just a confirmation of what K-pop fans have been saying, that we will collect things even if we're not going to use them. You sell us a CD, we'll buy it. You sell us a vinyl, we'll buy it, even if you won't be able to sell it, because that's how we express our support to our fans. So one of the things that they highlighted in their earnings call is the super fans. So they said that we really need to listen to super fans. We need to look at their behavior and cater to them. So they do not think that that's going to go away, that CDs and vinyls are going to go away, but they do think it's going to evolve. So now they're saying that it's a game of providing something more or better than just photo cards and whatever. Okay. They are also going to soon launch a super VIP tier in different streaming platforms. So if you have Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, they're working with these platforms for these platforms to offer super fan tier. And they said that it's working in China. For Tencent, which is a platform in China, they're they are actually they estimate that 20% of their entire listener base are super fans. And so they have the super tier. And that is providing them extra revenue because people are paying more for their favorite artists. So most likely within next year, Spotify, maybe Amazon Music, most likely Apple Music is going to be late in the game, meaning they are going to launch it like later in the year. But we can anticipate that Spotify, Amazon Music, and others will introduce these tiers. So you're going to pay more. But of course, you're going to get more as well. That is the idea. Okay. And then somebody, so a former, the former head of Weavers, you can buy a record player for $99. Okay. So the former head of Weavers, one of the pioneers of Weavers, those who develop Weavers, now created his own Weavers. So he's creating a platform that will compete with Weavers. And they actually, the company that he founded bought 38.5 million worth of shares from Dream Us, which is owned by Kakao, I believe. But the intention is to compete with Weavers. So anybody who's not on Weavers, he wants to get on his court. So there you go. He said, I have dreamed of this era since the days when I started. It's right in the middle. This paragraph is right in the middle, right below advertisement. It says, I have dreamed of this era since the days when I started the very first global K-pop community, Weavers. It was also the reason I decided to leave Hybe and take on a new challenge. So he is taking all the experience and insights he got from Hybe and creating his own. I don't know if why he doesn't have a non-compete, or maybe he does and it has expired now. I don't know. But that is the news. Okay, do you have questions? So what keeps the controllers of AI from inventing things that tarnishes the image reputation of the artist? What right do the artist have to counter the any misuse if they sell the rights? Um when they sell, like for example, I can only speak for, okay, so when they sell that the rights, for example, over their image, you will be bound by regulations. that that so if they for example, they can put anything they want to put there. If they say you can't use it for political purposes, you can't use it for political purposes. If they say you definitely can't use it for R18 content, like nothing sexual or whatever, then you can't, right? Or they can say like you can't use my image to portray me singing in a different language. Yeah, then you have to be bound by that. So most likely those things are going to be in place. That's the protection that they have. So now it's up to the lawyers to make sure that those terms and conditions are airtight. So when will Weaver start selling record players? The question is, when are they going to start streaming? Because that's, I think that's the next frontier for them. Many fans are now becoming more aware that artists are actually earning less in Spotify. So many fans are actually becoming more conscious where they will stream because they want to help the artist. So I think eventually Weverse will do their own streaming platform. That's my guess. Does that mean they're going to pull their songs out Spotify and Apple Music? I don't think they're going to do that. The same way Beyonce and Jay-Z did not put up Tidal, but they did not pull out their songs from Spotify. So I think eventually Spotify and platforms like that will serve a different purpose, more marketing than anything. And then those that are really devoted into supporting their artists, they're going to start streaming on platforms that will benefit their artists more. Okay. Jungkook is already streaming. He started his streaming. Oh my god. Okay. Um There's a very cute purple retro suitcase style record player on Amazon. Okay. I have 20 minutes to finish this Seven Fates Chakos. So, um, there are similarities between the comic book, sorry, not the comic book, but the manhwa, which is published for free. Anybody can actually read that. And then this book. So but there are more similarities than there are differences. The big advantage of the book is that they can actually do more. They can describe more things because typing is easier than drawing, right? So they can explore the characters a little bit more. Okay. So in the first 8 chapters, we meet, of course, Zeha, which is Jungkook, and then Haru, which is Jimin, and then Dogun, which is RM. Okay. So, spoiler alert, I'm about to start saying spoilers. So, if you don't want to hear it, please stop watching. I'm still hoping for the ebook. I will excuse myself now. Good night. Good night, Bang Luna. Okay. So, as you know, Haru used to be, well, he's a deity. He's not used to be, but he's a deity. And he used to guard the door that separates the humans from the tigers. That's what we know. Okay. And then Zeha is half bomb, half tiger, half bear because his mother was a shaman and from the Gom tribe. So he's half bear. Okay. All right, that's what we know. And we know that Dogon used to be the leader of a shady group. And now he's actually going into, but he lost the entire group to bombs. The bombs murdered his entire group. So he's out for revenge. Okay. Um you don't like manga? Okay. So another thing that we know. So Shinshi is the city where they live. Okay. Who is which BTS member? Okay, so Haru, which is the one wearing a hanbok, he is Jimin. The one in the middle, which is Zeha, that's Jungkook. And then Dogon, the one wearing sunglasses, that's RM. He's Dogon. Okay. So Haru, the one wearing a hanbok, which is Jimin, is a deity and he guarded the door that separates humans from bombs. Okay. And then Zeha is the half bomb, half bear, and half human. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So they live in the Shinshi city. Um, will you save post the 7 feet discussions to check out later for those who don't have the book yet? Yes. Yeah. Yes. All right. So Shinsi is the city where they live. It is being controlled by a very, very rich man. So before this the bomb actually started attacking the city, they were starting to become prosperous, and it was all because of this rich guy. Now, just like any other city, there's a great divide. The northern portion of the city is the downtown, basically, where all rich people are. And then the south, that's where the slums are, basically. Okay. So and then bomb started attacking everybody. The bombs are the tigers. They are not really monsters, but they're half human, half monsters. Well, not really half monsters. Sorry, not really half humans, but they're more I guess monsters is the right word. And but they kind of look human. They can look human. If they wear a hood, if they wear clothes, they can look human. But their strength and their appetite is that of a tiger. Okay. They're very fast, they're very strong, and they rejuvenate. Meaning, if you slash them, you stab them, you shoot them, they can actually heal themselves, which puts humans at a great disadvantage. And they resent human because for the longest time, they are only allowed out of their world, which is the world that Haru Jimin, the one in Hanbok, is guarding. They're only allowed out of that once a year. Okay. So, and then, so they feast for a day in that once a year, they feast for a day, and then they have to go back. Now, the story, we all know this already in the first 8 chapters, is that the mother of Zeha, which is Jungkook, the mother of Zeha, which is Jungkook, was the shaman that guarded or helped guard that door where the that separates the bombs and the humans. So she was one of them. She was the guard. However, she fell in love with one of the bombs, one of the tigers, one of the monsters. And he was the father of Zeha, which is Jungkook. Okay. Okay. We all know this already in the first 8 chapters. This book actually moves fast in terms of story. Okay, so this is something that we as writers of scripts and of books sometimes do. Some writers still do it, some don't. But we have, even those that don't actually do this exercise, we have some sort of an idea in our head because this is the structure when we are creating characters. So I'm sure that you've watched movies and TV shows and read books where you felt so strongly for two characters to come together. Not necessarily romantic, it can be family or friends, but you feel that no, they absolutely have to be together. They have to be friends, they have to stay together. And that is because we have mastered the art, or we were successful in connecting the characters in this way because you feel that they are so perfect together that you want them to be together. So this is the exercise that we do. We go through the traits of each member, of each character, and the traits will actually have to make sense for them to be together. So, for example, if we examine just based on the first 8 chapters, this can still change as we go through the book. So, for example, for Zeha, we know that he's actually a very caring guy. If you read the story and if you notice the things that he's saying, the things that he's doing, he's very caring. He likes taking care of other people, which is odd because he actually grew up alone. But the way that he takes on Haru, the deity, which is Jimin, Zeha is Jungkook, um, you can see that he's very considerate. He's always looking out for their welfare, always worried whether they're safe or they're healthy. He's that kind of a person. And he trusts fully. But the most beautiful thing is that he doesn't just trust other people, he trusts himself as well. So when he himself feel that this guy or this person can be trusted, he doesn't even question himself. He doesn't second guess himself. He just goes on and trusts that person. And that's why he trusted Dogon right away. He trusted Haru right away because he just felt it. Okay. Haru, on the other hand, because he was a deity, so he was really never amongst humans, he gives people space, and that's the same thing he does with Zeha. He allows Zeha to actually process his thoughts. He allows Zeha to discover himself, make his own decisions, fail if he must. But he allows that thing to Zeha. And that's, if you think about it, if these gods, like the deities, are real, then that's the same thing that they do, right? They allow humans to live their lives. Um, but Dogon, on the other hand, is a very confident person. He was a leader of a very shady group, but a leader nonetheless. So unfortunately, he lost the entire group, which made him want to come after Bombs, because he realized that it was the Bombs who actually took out his entire group. Yes, we're talking about anime. This is probably the last topic that I'm going to be talking about. Are those their same names in the BTS webtoon? Yes. The no, the sorry. This is the name that they used in Begins Youth. But in the webtoon, you're talking about Hayang Wayang Yonwa? Is that your question? Wayang Yonwa? Okay. So and then we determine what are the strengths of each character. So um because then we know what how they can use themselves to be of assistance to the other character, right? So for Zeha, we know that he's a survivor because he was left alone when he was a kid. He grew up in an orphanage, and then when he was young enough to move out, he moved out and he worked for himself. Okay. Um so he's a survivor. And another strength that he has is that he's half bomb. So he has their strength, he has their speed, and also he knows them because that's him. He's one of them. So that's his greatest strength in this entire story where they are hunting bombs. This is their biggest. This is his biggest advantage. Um, Next, wisdom for Haru. He has the wisdom of 1,000 lives, of 1,000,000 lives actually, because he's a deity. So he has been around for so long, and he also is inhumanely strong, which was described um by Zeha himself, by Jungkook. When Haru held on to him, he said that he was inhumanely strong, so he couldn't break himself free. And he's a strong guy. Zeha is actually a strong guy. Dogon's strength is weapons. Okay. Next, when we'll talk about K-pop back to China and James next, yeah, on Wednesday. Okay. And then for weakness, so each character needs to have a strength, and then they also need to have a weakness. So Zeha's interesting. This is one of the most interesting things about Zeha. His strength is also his weakness. So he's half bomb, that's his strength, but he's also half bomb, and that is his strength. And sorry, that's his weakness as well, because people are hunting bombs and he's a bomb. Okay. So, and then for Haru, even though he has the wisdom of 1,000,000 lives, he still has lapses in his memory, which he actually verbalized in chapter 2, I think, or chapter 3, when he told Zeha, I can't remember. He said, if you've lived this long like me, things you tend to forget things. And he actually said that, you've had moments like this as well. So just give me a minute. I'm trying to remember. Okay. And then for Dogon, his weakness is the guilt that he's carrying because he feels he's responsible for the loss of his group's lives. Okay. Now, this is where we determine the goal. What is it that they're trying to accomplish for each for for themselves, because that's going to dictate their journey, right? Okay, so and for Zeha, his primary goal is to avenge the death of his parents and to remember everything. So there are two things that he wants. He wants to remember his past because he wants to remember his parents, and he needs to avenge the death of his parents. For Haru, which is Jimin, Zeha is Jungkook. For Haru, which is the deity, his goal is to actually close the door. So he's actually protecting Zeha because he knows that Zeha is the only one that can close the door. So you already can see possible emotional conflicts in the future when they connect, when their relationships actually become stronger. uh, the question will be in Zeha's mind, are you protecting me because you're concerned about me as your friend? Or are you protecting me because I am the key to you achieving your goal? Right. And that could spell the difference between the two in their relationship. And then Dogon's uh, goal is to avenge his family, which is not his real family, but that is the only family that he knew. Okay. So, and then the question will be for them to connect. This is a golden rule in storytelling. For you to sort of uh for the audience to cheer for the characters to stay together, the very first thing that you need to do is connect them. So give the audience a reason to cheer for the characters to remain together. Again, I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. So for you to connect them, you need to give each character something that the other character is looking for. So, what is it that one character has that the other can provide? So, for example, for Zeha, he's the bomb. He's a bomb. And everyone is trying to kill the bombs. And so the key is for them to find someone who's a bomb and be able to relate to him, right? So that's what he can provide. He is the bomb that everyone is trying to hunt. Okay. For Haru, he has the knowledge and the wisdom beyond this world. And so he knows everything about everyone. He knows about Zeha, he knows about Dogon, their past, their family's past. And so if there's anybody who will know how to motivate and move everybody, it would be Haru. Okay. And then for Dogon, he's actually experienced. Of this entire group, he's the only one who's gone into the battlefield and actually fight because he's the leader of a questionable group before. Okay. Now, you can do this exercise as well into two by two, because this I did three characters. And then you can do it by pairings. Again, not necessarily romantic. And in this book, in the original version, there was nothing romantic. It was all just them being friends and having to sharing a goal. You can actually examine the characters as by pair for you to know how those characters connect. So, for example, the similarity between Zeha, Jungkook, and Dogon, RM, is that they're both trying to kill bombs. They share that. They share that goal. But then they also have differences. And the primary difference is that Dogon wants to work alone, but Zeha wants a group, right? And do remember that Dogon wants to work alone because he was traumatized because he lost his entire family. As opposed to Zeha, he's never had a family. He doesn't remember. So that's what he needs, a group with him. So you can see like the conflict. You know that they share the same goal. You know that there is similarities because they're both gearing towards family. It's about a family, but one is trying to avoid it and one is trying to search for it. So then you can see how they're going to try and connect. The same thing is true with Zeha and with Haru. For the basic difference, they both want to kill bombs. They're trying to hunt bombs, so that's also something in common. But the difference is that for Zeha, he's doing it for his family, and then for Haru, he's doing it for humanity because he's a deity. So he's not necessarily doing it for one person or just a few people. He's doing it for humanity. And how do they complement each other? Haru, and this one I think is one of the most beautiful way they plotted the characters, because for Zeha, Haru knows everything about him. And he is the only person who knows everything about Zeha. Even Zeha does not know everything about himself. Haru knows because he's a deity and he's been seeing him his entire existence. On the other hand, for Haru, Zeha is his only link to humanity now. And he juggles his memory. Because remember, he's a deity. He's never really dealt with humans before. This is the first time he's actually living amongst humans, and Zeha is his connection to humanity. Okay. Is there any way to get seven fates in an actual book? Yeah, here. You can get it on Amazon. There. It's available on Amazon. It's you can they can ship it now if you order. And then are you Based in the US, I think it's available Canada, Germany, wherever Amazon is available. Okay. So that's actually for um the first 8 chapters. And then I just have some favorite scenes. This I've gone through like what we know already about the characters. Um I just love okay, this some of the moments that stood out to me. I really love the banter between Haru and Zeha. And I love the unspoken. Yes, yeah, yeah. In the US. If you go to Amazon, Seven Fates Chakos. Yeah, the book. So, yeah, so that I love how when the first time Dogon and Zeha saw each other, they both felt this intense feeling in their chest, like an instant connection. And both wondered like did he feel that too? So you can immediately see that their connection is something deeper than just them trying to search for a bomb. It feels like destiny that they're actually meant to see each other. Is that the full story? That this is the full story, but it looks like they are going to do a book too. So yeah, but this is a complete story on its own. And then I'll find a soft copy. I don't know if they have a soft copy. I was also looking for a soft. Maybe there is because when I bought this, it was pre-order. They only have hardbound. I haven't read a physical book in such a long time. Do they have it in audiobook? Uh mm, it's I would encourage if you haven't read a book in such a long time, this wouldn't be a bad choice to go back, just because it's just the way it was written and the characters are so full. It's not like they rushed it. I think they it's like well written. I think is what I'm trying to say. It's well written and the because I'm in love with characters by nature. So if when the characters are well written, I know the connection, I know how they complement each other. I really fall in love with the book. And this is exactly what that is. The characters are so full that I can imagine them interacting. And because it's easier for me to imagine the seven of them, then yeah. I'm here. So Seven Fates Chacos. Wait. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, here. All right. So make sure that you choose the novel because share this tab. Okay. There you go. So it's 15% off right now. So just make sure that you choose the novel. There is a manhwa, a comic book, uh and it has I think like 7 chapters or something. You can buy that too, but as I've said, but that manhwa, that comic book graphic novel is based on the manhwa that you can access in here in webtoons. So, and there are some differences between the two. So if you want like this, then go for the novel. You got the book using my link. Thank you. Yeah. So those are still the setup. That's just the first 8 chapters of the book. I'm actually already on chapter 12 and it's so hard to stop once you stop once sorry, it's so hard to stop once you start reading because it's so well written, I swear. Like the banter that they had, I could imagine the three Zeha, which is Jungkook, Haru, which is Jimin, and Dogon, which is RM, talking. When they were describing it, they were eating ramen. I could really imagine the three of them talking. So, is there a novel, the complete story, or will there be a volume two? I think this is a complete story, but most likely they will continue. So this is the yeah. There's an epilogue. But this is a complete story in itself. It's a complete story in itself. And then we need your affiliate link for the book and shopping. Okay, I'll send it. I'll post it again. Okay. All right. So that is it. If you have questions or if there's anything you want me to add in the next live stream, let me know. But that's just a setup, and it would be nice, like, if you want, like, to be really analytical in the things that you're reading, you can actually practice that. Okay. Thank you, Sir Fly. All right. Thank you so much. And appreciate you all being here. Let's watch if Jungkook is already live. We're gonna start watching. Okay. Bye, everybody. See you next time.